Hey, this is Chris. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to Popcorn Finance, where we discuss finance in about the time it takes to make a bag of popcorn. I just want to say thanks for joining me for another episode. And today I have an interesting question. It's a different topic than I usually cover here. And for this topic, I had to bring in a special guest. And today I'm joined by Megan Brinsfield. How's it going, Megan?
Doing well. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing good this evening. I'm still trying to stay awake. I had a few cups of coffee to kind of keep me going after a long day.
Yeah.
But doing good.
Yeah.
How are things going over on your side of the country?
Great. Yeah, we're a country apart, but together tonight on this call, and I'm excited about it.
Well, thanks for joining me because I got a call in from Mack Hackett, and he was calling in because on my anchor station, I do this thing called the Most Engaged Listener, and basically it's people who are kind of listening and participating in the station, what we do there. And he had listened, I think, 2 days in a row. And I said, if you listen for a third day, I'll do an episode on whatever question you want, whatever topic you choose. And he did it. I think he did it for like 4 days in total. So I was like, okay, what do you want to talk about? What's your question? And here's what he called in with.
Hey, Chris, it's Mack Hackett. So just to let you know, I do live in Thailand, but only for a few months. And then right now we're in Malaysia. We're doing some sightseeing here, but we're going back to Thailand soon. But I take advantage of the FEIE, the Federal Earned Income Exclusion. You should go over that on your channel. I'm able to travel the world about 330 days a year, and I don't pay any earned income tax on up to $200,000 of my income. So that might be something your listeners will be interested in. All right, keep up the good work. Bye.
All right, so he sent this question in, and I had no idea what he was talking about. So that's why I brought you on, Megan. And Megan, before we go in and answer Mack's question, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do at Motley Fool Wealth Management?
Sure. So I work for Motley Fool Wealth Management as the Director of Financial Planning, Foolish Financial Planning, which is a fun title. But my background is not just in financial planning, but also in tax preparation and tax planning. And I know that you asked me this question and didn't really expect to get much of a response, but it happens to be that I work with a lot of expats in my previous roles. And so I have some insight.
Oh, nice. So this is perfect because when you told me you knew what this was, I was like, great, because I'm going to need all your help with this. So yeah, I was going to let you just go ahead and jump in and kind of explain to us what this foreign earned income exclusion is.
Yeah, so before I get started, I kind of have to satisfy my legal crew here and just let you know that when I'm talking in this interview, these are just my opinions, not Motley Fool Wealth Management or any of the other associated companies. And of course, if you need personal tax advice or Mack needs personal tax advice, they should talk to, their tax advisors and not just take advice from a podcast, because that would be silly.
Exactly.
But in general, the Foreign Earned Income Exclusion is a tax benefit for people who are working abroad, specifically U.S. citizens who are working abroad. And it allows you to exclude $104,100 from your income, from your taxable base. So that sounds like a really great benefit. There are a lot of little nuances that go along with it, though. And I think we're going to get into some of those in this episode.
Yeah, it sounds like there are a lot of little moving pieces going on with this type of thing. And one of the things that Mack mentioned was 330 days. He was able to travel for 330 days. Is there any significance in that number?
Yeah, my ears perked up when I heard that number because that's associated with one of the two methods that you can use to meet the qualifications of being abroad. And it's called the physical presence test. So for that test, you have to be in a foreign country for 330 out of 365 days in a given 12-month period. So it sounds like he's been doing that for himself. And some people meet this by being in one country, and other people kind of travel around to different places. Okay,
that was going to be my next question for you. So you're not limited to, I have to be in Australia for 330 days total. It can be spread out multiple countries. Right.
No, you're not restricted to one specific country. You can be any number of different places. You do, though, have to establish what is called a tax home in a different country. And that's a little bit nuanced because it's not just having a home in a different country or paying taxes in a different country. There are a lot of sort of very detailed meanings associated with the term tax home in the tax code.
Oh, okay. So it's not just I can just travel the world and just kind of bounce around. There has to be some type of home base for you somewhere in the world.
Right. So you basically have to show that you've established more of a connection, both socially, financially, work-wise, to another country other than the US.
Got it. Okay. And then also you mentioned a number, like an earnings number. You said $104,000 is what's excludable, you said?
Right. $104,100 in 2018. So it's indexed for inflation. So every year it changes just a little bit. And we're using the 2018 number because I assume for 2017, those 330 days are in the past.
It's a little too late to try to jump on that now. Okay. And then thank you for explaining this because I feel like I understand it a little bit better now. It still sounds complicated, but are there any like tools or anything I can use if I wanted to do this to kind of keep track of things?
Yeah, so there are a couple of apps. One is called Moneo. Another one is called Tracking Days. That one's only on the iPhone. And essentially, these are apps that track the location of your phone using like the GPS coordinates in the phone in order to provide an audit log of where you have actually been over the course of many days. And people use this to provide backup and establish that they have actually met the qualifications to take this great exemption.
Got it. Okay. So there's something that is actually tracking you and can kind of determine when you are in another country versus in the U.S. to give you, I guess, your days you need to meet the minimum requirement.
Exactly.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. That's like I guess like an easier way to do it. I know when we were talking before, you mentioned something about like while you're traveling, that you have to be like in a certain spot, maybe like if I'm if I'm in a plane and
Yes.
I cross over a border, does that count?
Yeah, it could. So the key is that you have to be in a foreign country. So that includes like airspace and national waters of a certain country. If you're in international waters, that's not actually a country. There was just a tax case that said Antarctica is not actually a foreign country.
Really?
Yeah, so there's all sorts of weirdness associated with this, and people get very detailed about making sure that they track, if they're on an international flight, when they actually cross into the airspace of a foreign country so they can start that clock.
Oh, wow. Okay, so never mind. My world travels, I got to leave Antarctica off of there because it's not going to count.
Yeah, it's not going to help you.
Never mind. Well, Megan, thank you so much for stopping by and explaining this question from Mac. He definitely had me stumped on this one, so I appreciate having someone who knows what they're talking about hop on here. And I know there's still a lot more to this. I know we just kind of gave a high-level overview, so I'll definitely put some links to some more of the details that you gave me in the show notes, and that way people can kind of follow up on that and get a little more detail, get a little more in-depth if this is something that could actually apply to them. And so for you, is there anything you have going on? Is there any place that we can connect with you to kind of just keep up with what's going on and all this information you have locked away in your brain?
Yeah, so my company's website is foolwealth.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at certifiablepf.
Nice. Okay, definitely. I'm going to make sure I'm following you as well. I don't know if I am. I know we connected in person, so then it's always like you have to follow up with the online connection too after you meet somebody, right?
Yeah, when you're friends in real life, the social media is secondary.
Right. Exactly. Well, Megan, thanks so much. Appreciate you just stopping by and explaining this really interesting topic, especially when it comes to taxes. It's nice to find something that's more interesting than the typical stuff we hear about.
Yeah, this is a fun one. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Talk to you soon. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to say thanks again for coming back and joining me for another episode. And also welcome for those of you who are checking the show out for the first time. Hope you enjoyed it. And also a big thank you to Megan Brinsfield for stopping by and talking taxes with us. It can be a scary topic sometimes, but I think she did an excellent job of breaking it down and making it easy to understand. So definitely need to have her back again for another episode. If you enjoyed what you heard and you want to hear more, subscribe. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, or on Spotify now. Pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast, you'll find the Popcorn Finance podcast there. And if you're really liking what you hear, please leave a review. Makes a huge difference, helps the show grow, gain some traction, get some attention going. So that's probably the best thing you can do to help the show out. And thank you again for stopping by, enjoying another bag of popcorn with me. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.